What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Don's Reacts back with another video. We got another non-stop sports video. Today we reacting to every NBA team all-time biggest freak of nature. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. We're up 200 subscribers. Let's get right into it. We all know what a freak of nature is. Like, how to explain it? Like, whether they really talk, like, with dominant players, rather it be because of their height, their body build, and all of that. But let's get right into it.
The term freak of nature is often used because regular people can't fathom the size and athletic ability of the most talented NBA players. Out of all the high-flying superhumans that ever played in the league, we selected the biggest freaks of nature in the history of each NBA team.
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks, Spud Webb.
Yeah,
Well,
how tall was he? 5'7"? Being able to do what he did? Bro, dude was a dunker.
That Dominique Wilkins, aka the human highlight film, would be listed here, but we figured it was more spectacular when short people dunk. At 5'6", Spud Webb is the second shortest player ever, and it's a miracle he even made it to the NBA. But Mr. Webb got to the league because he was extremely quick and because he had springs in his legs.
All right, hear me out. Was Spud Webb really good, or was he just known for being a dunker? I don't know. I never really looked much into his career, but every time people describe him, it's for dunking. So I'm like, was he really good, or he just was a dunker? And even if he was just a dunker, being 5'6" and able to jump like he did is impressive. So hear me out. I don't know.
Player ever to win a dunk contest where he defeated over a foot taller Dominique, his teammate on the Hawks. Boston Celtics, Bill Russell. At 6'10" and 230 pounds, Bill Russell wasn't a freak of nature by today's standards. However, 6'10" was a lot in the 50s and the 60s, and at that height, Bill Russell could run the break like a point guard, block every shot on defense, and was the only guy who could contain prime Wilt Chamberlain. Oh, and he did all of that in flat-footed Converse All-Stars. Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that's one thing. But that's why a lot of players from back then got bad knees now, because the Converse situation. KD?
The Nets' history is over 50 years long, but the biggest freak of nature in franchise history just started playing for the team. KD is a 7-footer with a 7'5" wingspan, and he's one of the best scorers the game has ever seen. Broken Achilles, and he's still averaging 27 points per game, one of the most efficient shooting of his career. That's some freak of nature stuff right there. Charlotte Hornets, Muggsy Bogues.
5'3".
Standing at 5'3", Muggsy is as tall as
5'3". Like 5'3" is short for a dude in average in any standard. 5'3" is a short dude. If you see a 5'3" dude, you be like, oh, he's short. Yet alone NBA, you're a midget, pretty much. Is that an offensive term? But you're that. I don't know if it's offensive or not to say that, but yeah.
Kevin Hart. He is 5 or 6 inches shorter than those players who got told they are too short to play in the NBA. And yet, Muggsy Bogues played in the league of giants. He stayed for 14 years, and he was really good. The shortest player in NBA history averaged more than...
Apparently, people say that he never played the same after Jordan, like, was like, you know, daring him to shoot you effing midget. I said it again. I don't know if, like I said, I'm pretty, it might be
10 assists in 2 seasons, and he even blocked 39 shots in his career.
39.
Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan. He had a 48-inch vertical, and his nickname was Air. When he dunked, and that was often, he did it with his tongue sticking out. We'll leave it at that. Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James. Ever since 2002, the Ohio native LeBron James has been in the spotlight, and he managed to exceed the lofty expectations and justify nicknames that were the Chosen One and the King. But when you are born with the body of a tight end, the speed of a wide receiver, and the brain of a quarterback, heck, you really are the Chosen One. Dallas Mavericks, Kristaps Porzingis. The award for the biggest freak of nature in Mavs history could have gone to 7'6" Sean Bradley, or even the 7'4" Boban Marjanovic, who currently plays for the team. But in the end, we decided to lower the bar 1 inch.
I think they gave it to Porzingis instead of Boban, because Porzingis actually good. Boban could, I don't know how good Boban could be. So I think that, because Porzingis is 7'3", a 7'3" stretch, but I think a stretch that relies on his jumper too much, because I don't think he realized how tall he is.
7'3" Kristaps Porzingis can get in. Why? because at 7'3", Porzingis runs, jumps, and plays more like a wing player than a center. He can dribble,
that's
shoot the
sometimes
threes
his
nobody
detriment,
can't really guard.
Seeing the clip, he had a fast break with Luke Kennard, and he pulling up for three. You're KP, not KD.
And protect the rim better than most. Because of this unique versatility,
Solid rim
he
protect.
got nicknamed the Unicorn by one Kevin Durant. Denver Nuggets. Dikembe Mutombo. Dikembe was called Mount Mutombo for a reason. He was a mountain of a man, standing at 7 foot and 2 inches with a pterodactyl 7'7" wingspan. It was hard to get over Mount Mutombo, and most who have tried only came back with Mutombo's trademark finger wag as a souvenir. Dikembe averaged an astonishing 3.8 blocks during his time in Denver, where he also won the first of his 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Detroit Pistons, Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace wasn't even that. This is the thing about Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace was at the time, for that time, cause like you might see bigs nowadays be 6'9" because positionless basketball, but this dude was a 6'9" center. Back when Shaq, Yao Ming, people like that was in the league. Like most centers was either 7 foot or close to it, and he's 6'9".
Undrafted in 1996 because he was a 6'9" center who didn't have a lick of offense.
Yeah,
when
and
he retired in 2012, he was still all of those things, but he was also a champion and a record-tying 4-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Is he a Hall of Famer yet?
Ben Wallace was.
I think they saying he did not a Hall of Famer because of what his role, like the Malice in the Palace incident, could have been avoided if he never went at it with Ron Artest. So I guess that's why he's
harder to move than a block of bricks because of how strong he was.
Oh, yeah,
Ben never left the gym, and it showed, especially in the 2004 NBA Finals when he was the only person in the world capable of guarding Shaq one-on-one. Golden State Warriors, Wilt Chamberlain. 100 points in a game, and an average
of... debate to this day if he was more dominant than Shaq. I debate whether Wilt Chamberlain was real, because some of these stories, like 7'2" track star, 55 rebounds in a game, 100 points. The craziest Wilt story I ever heard, though. I'm surprised this one don't get talked about as much. Like, he was in an elevator. They say he was in the elevator. Dude, a little short dude asked him, how's the weather up there? He spit on him and told him it was raining.
50 points in the season and 23 rebounds for his
career.
Wilt
averaged 50 points and 23 rebounds in the season. And apparently there was a stretch where Wilt would play all 48 minutes. That was in the records that will never be broken video. He averaged 48.5 minutes because some games went into overtime, and he would play every minute of a game. That's what I'm like. Wilt is just some fictional character. He was putting up my career NBA 2K my career numbers in real life.
Those are just the highlight numbers in a sea of NBA records that still stand today.
That'll probably never
could also bench Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley sitting on each side of the barbell and then run 100 meters in 11 seconds. If anybody was a freak of nature in the NBA, it was Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Houston Rockets.
Yao Ming.
Yao Ming.
You are
7'6", you are a freak of nature.
7'6".
When you have a smooth jumper with that height, you are a Hall of Famer.
Man, I wish we had get the chance to see Yao Ming play longer, but injuries. I mean, when you're that tall, it's gonna happen, sadly.
In his first couple of seasons because he's Chinese. The fans had 100% of votes back then, and there are over 1 billion people in China. In later years, he was an all-star because he was one of the best players in the game, and there was nothing anybody could do against.
Yao Ming, it wasn't just because he's Chinese while he was making the All-Star game. Dude was actually good. I don't know, maybe his early days he wasn't, but from what I remember, Yao Ming was good. So,
it's the guy who can effectively shoot over you anytime he wants to. Indiana Pacers, Jermaine O'Neal. In the early 2000s, Jermaine O'Neal was balling. He was an athletic 6'11" center who averaged 20 and 10 plus 2.5 blocks during his 6 All-Star years in Indiana.
I didn't know
when he was one of the best two-way players in the league.
I knew Jermaine O'Neal was good. I just thought Blake Griffin, but I just thought Jermaine O'Neal was just a runner, not run of the mill, but an average player. Blake Griffin.
In its glory days, Lob City, LA Clippers were the best show in all of basketball. It seemed that almost every game, someone gets brutally posterized by Blake Griffin, who was converting lob dunks at the highest rate in NBA history. And when he didn't have souls to destroy with his dunks, Blake just jumped over cars. Los Angeles Lakers.
But yeah, people like over the years, people try to take away credit. It was just the hood. Okay, you go jump over the hood of a car. Then holla at
O'Neal. Shaq was 7'1", over 300 pounds, and yet nimble as a mongoose.
But apparently Blake wanted to jump over the whole car, but the league didn't. The league told him no, because like they didn't want him to get hurt if he missed, because that would have been a brutal fall.
He won 4 titles, but some people think he could have done more with such immense physical gifts.
Kobe and Shaq stayed together.
Probably right. If he trained and applied himself every year, like in his 2000 MVP season, when he looked like a taller version of The Rock, he could have probably won a few more titles. However, you still can't say nothing to the man. He won championships, should have won more MVPs, and he averaged 28 and 12 through the first 14 years of his basketball career, alongside platinum rap albums and Kazam. Memphis Grizzlies, Ja Morant.
Ja Morant, I'm on my Grizzly. Hey, my man's getting the respect he deserves. Y'all, and people be saying the man overrated. Where? Y'all just be slandering my man. Just to slander him.
Ja Morant is a speed demon, and outside of De'Aaron Fox, there is probably not a faster player in the NBA right now. But what separates Morant from other speedsters is his ability to elevate and try to murder everyone who gets between him and the basket.
If he made that dunk, that and the Anthony Davis one, if he made them, but dang, man's what that if John develops a jump shot. Gosh, bro, one of the most skilled point guards.
And to be able to do all that, weighing just 175 pounds, is simply amazing. Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade.
Flash!
If you are new to the NBA and you remember Dwayne Wade as a guy who couldn't jump on the scorer's table in his farewell game, please watch some young D Wade highlights. Young Wade was known as the Flash because there was nobody faster than him in splitting double teams, breaking ankles, and driving to the basket with bad intentions. Just ask poor Anderson Varejao.
I watched that game live. A Kunkpo.
Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
He said his name. We know he's a freak of nature because of his name, Greek Freak.
Nickname is the Greek Freak, then you should probably make every freak of nature list.
I ain't gonna lie. Is it safe to say that he's the most dominant player in the league right now? Probably most dominant player since Shaq. Or am I going a little bit too far? Y'all let me know in the comments. I don't know.
Giannis took the lead by storm with his extremely long steps and the ability to run the full court with 2 dribbles and then dunk it so hard you probably jumped out of your seat. He packed on some meat on those long legs.
And that step on, Giannis transformation, like, I was talking about this stuff. I was listening to people talk about this the other day. Giannis had a crazy transformation. And it's not like he developed. It wasn't like he was starting to develop after a season, going from season to season. It's like he went from this, not quite to this, but he went from that to big in one off season. Like, usually it take players years to do that. The man had to have been on some kind of supplement. Sorry, nah. I like you. I like Giannis. So let me not disrespect my man's Giannis like that.
Drafted 50 pounds of muscle to be exact. And right now, he's arguably the most athletic player in the NBA.
Yeah, that's what Minnesota like KG. Okay, but back to Giannis. That's why I think it's safe to say he's the most dominant player since Shaq. Dwight had a dominant run, but it was so short that I don't know. Who else had a dominant? But I'd argue Giannis' run as a dominant player has been more than Shaq.
Timberwolves, Kevin Garnett. When Kevin Garnett first came to the NBA, he looked like an alien on the court. 7-footers with 7'5" wingspans weren't nothing new, but there was nobody in the league with those measurements weighing less than 220 pounds. He also didn't move like a 7-footer, and the fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. That skinny kid was guarding all 5 positions. His already bald head was extremely sweaty, and his eyes showed that he was willing to die on the floor. Yeah, KG was one crazy MF when he was out there, and that's why everybody loved him.
I mean, look at his pregame routine. Like, hitting his head on the. I know it's the soft part, but still, that's his pregame.
Unless, you know, you had to play against him. Then you probably hated his guts.
Yeah.
New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson.
Sure, Zion.
Zion Williamson is built like a tank, and yet he moves almost like a ballet dancer on the floor. Guys at 280 pounds shouldn't have a 45-inch vertical, and yet Zion has one. The whole world knows that he's going to go left every time he drives to the basket, and yet nobody seems able to stop him.
I just hate how people trying to make it's a Ja versus Zion rivalry when they played on the same AAU team. They both representing for South Carolina. Why y'all trying to, Ja might be better than Zion. The next league, Zion might be better than Ja. You can like both.
He is the essence of the term freak of nature because he defies the laws of physics.
I mean, I remember in high school, people would talk about Zion. Oh, look at his competition. Look at the competition that he playing. He's only doing that because of his competition. He got to college, still hooping. Got to the league, injured half his rookie year, but when he came, it's like that when people, okay, Zion might be the truth.
He's going to be a big problem for the entire league in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
New York Knicks, Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson
is mostly known for three things: being a really short NBA player, a record-breaking 3-time slam dunk champion, and getting knocked the hell out by Jake Paul. While he was still competing in his main sport, Nate was one of the most spectacular players in the league, just by the sheer size of him. If you're watching the NBA,
and he got like
it's expected to see guys dunk.
And he got the most dunk contest wins. He got a block on Shaq and Yao Ming.
But to see Nate do it consistently at 5'9" was really amazing. Oklahoma City Thunder, Russell Westbrook. We're so used to Russell Westbrook's crazy athleticism by now that almost nobody even noticed that this guy averaged another triple-double season in 2021. His fourth year. Westbrook is the most athletic point guard in NBA history, sans 4 years of healthy Derrick Rose, and his combination of speed and jumping ability is off the charts. At 6'3", Russ is usually the smallest guy on the floor, but seemingly every game, he's going to grab the rebound, outrun everybody, and finish with a thunderous dunk at the other end. Orlando Magic, Dwight Howard. There are different ways to look at Dwight Howard's career. You can view him as a guy whose bloated contracts have been traded from nearly every team in the league.
Yeah, or after he left Orlando, that's what's the downfall of his career. Like, people say Kobe ruined it, but I just don't think he had the heart that, like, I get what Kobe was saying. Like Dwight was so dominant, but it's like you got legends like Kareem, Hakeem. Dudes want to work with you, help you get better. They want to help you develop a post game, like a full-on post game, and like they would even say it. He's too lazy.
Or you can view him as the most dominant center since Shaq due to the unprecedented mobility and leaping ability for a center. Dwight's prime lasted for about 5 years, during which he won 3 consecutive Defensive Player of the Year awards, led the league in rebounding each year, and carried the Orlando Magic to the finals. Oh yeah, and he was the closest version of a Superman you'll ever see without CGI. Philadelphia 76ers, Julius Erving. Dr. J was the first one. The first NBA superhero that entered pop culture and the one everybody could watch on TV and wanted to be like him.
Yeah, Scotty, I remember watching The Last Dance. Scotty said like he wanted to be like Dr. J. Like a lot of the older guys wanted to be like Dr. J.
Really soared over the rim and dunked the ball as easily as a 7-foot center. Like what Mike did in the 80s and 90s, Dr. J did it all 1 decade earlier. Whether it's a dunk from the free throw line in a dunk contest or an iconic layup in the NBA Finals. Phoenix Suns, Amari Stoudemire. Amari
Stoudemire was definitely correct.
Stoudemire's nickname was Stat, which stands for Standing Tall and Talented. Stoudemire was a 6'10".
Oh, that's a fire nickname for him.
Insane jumping ability and polished defensive arsenal. So it's fair to say his nickname was justified, even though he made it up himself. Unfortunately for Amari and the Suns fans, he was actually too talented for his knees, who couldn't keep up with Stat's high-flying habits. But when he was healthy and in his prime, Amari was one of the best offensive power forwards the game has ever seen, and his dunks off Steve Nash passes were must-see TV.
For sure.
Portland Trailblazers, Clyde Drexler. Clyde Drexler was known as Clyde the Glide for a reason. A 10-time All-Star in the 80s and 90s, Drexler glided in the air with ease that was matched by only Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins. Sacramento Kings, Oscar Robertson.
Big O.
There have been many players playing for the Kings recently who were more athletic than Oscar Robertson, but for his era,
it's crazy though. Like, I can't view Oscar like that no more, man. Cause what he said about Steph, like, it's funny. Like, okay, basically, they asked him, like, you know, defenses don't got to answer for Steph, which they don't. Like, what would be his advice to guarding Steph? His answer was just step up. I'm like, I wish it was that easy. You and your bust up Converse, you'd have to be changing shoes by the second
the
quarter.
most athletic point guard ever. The early version of Magic Johnson and LeBron James. Robertson averaged 29 points, 10 rebounds, and 8.5 assists in his 10-year career with the Cincinnati Royals.
People do, as a late, I'd be like, oh, people be like, oh, when do you talk about big O other than triple doubles? But I'm like, y'all cannot, like, if you're a true fan of basketball, how can you slander the old heads? Like, I know it's funny and all of that, it's jokes, but still, how can you, like, people be serious sometimes. Like, how can you slander the old heads when they paved the way for your favorite player?
Who changed their name to Kings 2 years after he left. San Antonio Spurs. David
I would
Robinson.
think Tim Duncan would have been here.
David Robinson was 7'1", and his body looked like a sculpture of a Greek god, chiseled by Michelangelo. The Admiral was a lean, mean machine that dominated both sides of the floor. In his first 6 seasons before he got hurt, Robinson averaged 26 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3.5 blocks per game, winning every NBA individual award in the process. Toronto Raptors, Vince Carter.
Insanity.
A big reason why the Canadian national team now has over 15 NBA players is Air Canada.
Bruh. Vince Carter, greatest Raptor of all time, based off sheer impact. People might say Kawhi because he won them a ring. Like, it's such a debate for them. Like, people, oh, Kawhi won them a ring, so it got to be Kawhi. I still say Vince Carter because of his impact. Toronto wouldn't have been viewed the way that it been viewed if it wasn't for Vince Carter. Vince Carter, I guess you could say Kyle Lowry. Not Kyle Lowry. I guess you could say Kawhi, DeRozan, and Kyle Lowry. But people, I guess they respect Kyle Lowry more because he was there when they won the ring. But I'm like, like, Kyle Lowry was never the best player for the Raptors. It was always DeRozan or Kawhi. So I don't know. That's why I kind of want to put DeRozan ahead of Kyle Lowry.
Mr. Vince Carter. Drafted in Toronto in 1998, Carter's dunks and athleticism became the biggest highlight in the NBA, and he retired as arguably the best in-game dunker in NBA history.
Sure.
Utah Jazz, Karl Malone. Karl Malone was a slightly bulked up version of LeBron James. Karl was running the fast break like a freight train, and similarly to King James, everybody would move out of the way once he gained a head of steam. They called him the postman because he always delivered. Malone was incredibly strong and fit even after 20 seasons, and he averaged 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists at the age of 39. Washington Wizards, George Muresan.
He's
Born
like
in
7'7",
Romania in 1971, George Muresan grew to be the tallest NBA player ever, standing at 7'7" and a half inches, half an inch taller than Manute Bol. Muresan got the award for the most improved player in the 1996 season and became the first European player to win it. However, injuries started to pile up on his enormous body.
You'll notice that's a common theme for those, like, extra tall players anyway. Like, I don't know, I don't know if their body can't handle. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I can't explain.
His career was basically over in 1997, which allowed him to act alongside Billy Crystal in My Giant.
I didn't know he was an actor too. But anyway, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. We're up to 200 subscribers. Your boy Don's Reacts, and we out. Peace.